Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. As always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucks Nation? It's time to party, baby.
Happy Championship Victory Monday here on the Recher podcast. Hope everybody is doing well. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. What a weekend that we have had for Tampa Bay sports. Probably one of the better weekends in recent memory. When it comes to our sports teams, man, we got plenty to get into on the program today. How about those Tampa Bay Rays with a sweep up there in Queens over the New York Mets? We'll get into that here in a bit. Tampa Bay adds another. The Tampa Bay Sun winning the inaugural USL Super League Final. What an incredible performance from the Sun, scoring a goal in extra time. Wow, what an emotional game for them. 1-0 winning right there in Tampa. Sydny Nasello, the USL Super League Final MVP and former South Florida Bull. She's going to join us on the show at 1:30 today. Man, so proud of them. More on that in a second. The Rowdies with a win as well. We're going to talk all about that in the opening segment of the program today. Bryce Archie is going to join us at 1 o'clock. USF quarterback, USF right-handed pitcher. He joins us at 1 to find out what he's up to. What has he been up to since baseball season ended and before football season starts? And, of course, our pal Ian Beckles joins us at 12:30 for his weekly hit to talk all things Bucks and all things NFL. A big thank you to everybody joining us here on the show with Benny and Dolan and Lady Evil. Where are you watching the Recher podcast from today? Feel free to put it there on the comments. We'll take any comments, questions, and concerns. Put that in there. And if you guys want to join in on the conversation, this is how you're going to do so. There is the link right in the chat. I'm going to show it right here at the bottom of the screen. If you guys want to get in on the conversation, join us via the video stream. Click on that link. Whether it's your phone or your laptop, you can join us and talk right here on the Recher podcast. Only 2 or 3 shows this week, definitely off Thursday and Friday. I leave for South Carolina tomorrow afternoon. Not sure what time our game is on Wednesday there at Clemson. But if it's, right smack dab in the middle of the day, won't do a show. But from where we're staying on Wednesday, or from Wednesday to Sunday, we don't know if there's Wi-Fi. I'm going to check it out. If there is, I'll do a show from up in South Carolina on Wednesday, but definitely not a show Thursday and Friday. That's how it's going to be in the summer a little bit as I'm coaching with Hit Factory. So my schedule is going to be a little bit wonky before we get back into the full swing of things in the fall and in the winter with football and hockey and all that jazz. And it'll be here before you know it. Later on the show today as well, we're going to talk about the trades. Rafael Devers going from the Boston Red Sox to the San Francisco Giants, and then Desmond Bane getting traded from the Grizzlies to the Orlando Magic. I'm going to tell you which one of those makes sense, if either of them do or they don't, all of that. And shout out to all of our Lightning players that are going to the Olympics. You see Oliver Bjorkstrand going to play for Team Denmark in the Olympics next year. Zemgus Girgensons with Latvia, Victor Hedman with Sweden. We're still waiting for some of the other teams as well to be announced. So congratulations to all of our guys that are going to be playing for their national teams. It is sad that Russia is not going to be able to be there. So I know that means a lot to guys like Kuch and Andrei Vasilevsky and just the other Russians in the league. But, it is what it is, man. What's going on with the world? Like, Olympics, I guess, can't control all that kind of stuff. And safety has to be paramount as well. Oh, Dolan, home in Riverview. Stayed home sick. Bollocks. I hope you feel better, my friend. Where are you watching the Recher podcast from today? Questions, comments, concerns, let us know right there. Get in on the conversation. It was my first weekend back out on the field with Hit Factory. If you guys are paying attention at all on my social media, at Recher, I was working with the 17-year-olds Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to Championship Sunday, but I also helped out with the 16-year-old team, the Hit Factory Pros. What a collection of talent on that team. Yeah, it was a lot of fun getting back out there, seeing a lot of familiar faces with Pat Russo, Paul Russo, the whole Russo family. My guy Rod Kelly, fantastic player for University of Tampa back in the day, and a guy whose sons played in the Bay Area as well. His young, what's crazy when you're getting out there on the field and you're seeing kids playing out there with high school players that you like watch them grow up. Like I remember when Brady Kelly was in a freaking bassinet when he was in a stroller coming up to the field for his brother Cade, and now Brady's out there playing for the Hit Factory Pros, just crushing it as a shortstop. Time does fly. But my first time back out on the field in probably 8 to 10 years, and it was such a good time. So big thank you to Pat Russo, Vince Gagno, everybody out there, Paul Russo, just the whole crew. A lot of fun. And again, it doesn't stop. It's going to be a long summer going to Alabama, going to South Carolina, North Carolina. But again, this week we go and we leave tomorrow at around 3-4 o'clock after the show, driving up there to South Carolina. And our first game, I believe it's Wednesday night, but it'll be at the University of Clemson. So imagine that. If you're a kid and you're playing in the tournament in the summer and your first game is going to be at Clemson, one of the better programs in the country. So a really great experience for those kids. And I'm glad that I could be there to help them out in any form or fashion. So an exciting summer ahead for me and all the kids at Hit Factory, and the sky is the limit for all of us, participating, all the guys that are a part of Hit Factory. But aside from that, we look at our Tampa Bay Rays and what they were able to do up there in and not in the Boogie Down. They didn't go up there, but they were able to go up there and beat the New York Mets in 3 games, sweeping the number 1 team in the National League. I look at what Kevin Cash has been able to do with this team when we're worried about them. And listen, I know right now you look at them and say, hey, they're 3.5 games back. They're 7 of the Yankees for first place. They're 7 games over 500. I don't care how you look at it. They're in a much better spot now than they were a month ago. And a big reason why is because you have the right guy as the manager in Kevin Cash. When you talk about guys that are even keel, guys that don't get too high, don't get too low, and some people are going to get on coaches like that. We see that all the time when it comes to Todd Bowles, when it comes to other coaches. Oh, they don't show enough energy. They don't show enough passion. They don't show enough emotion. All right. Here in the Tampa Bay area, do you think Kevin Cash is a better manager than Aaron Boone, the Yankees manager? I think a lot of people here in the Bay Area would say yes. Well, Aaron Boone is a guy that's yelling all the time, getting thrown out of games. Kevin Cash has gotten thrown out, I believe, 1 time this year. So it's not always about that. It's about when things are going bad, not freaking out, kind of staying the course. And that has really worked to the benefit of our Tampa Bay Rays and with Kevin Cash at the helm. And I look back at Friday night. Friday night, you get the first run on the board in the 4th. Then you give up 2. So you give up the lead right away. You don't answer back, and then the Mets get 3 in the bottom of the 5th. So now it's 5-1. You're going into the top of the 6th inning, and you're looking for a response. Trouble hitting the ball leading up to then, and then boom, you explode in the 6th inning. And you answer back in such a way where it ends up leaving you to victory. There's no more runs after that. It's a 7-5 game. But you look at that 6th inning, and I wanted to go back exactly what happened there. These are the kind of at-bats that really define what your team is all about. You're behind. You're looking there just as much as they're looking for that shutdown inning, right? You're looking to respond. You get a new pitcher with Paul Blackburn replacing Clay Holmes. And the guy that gets much maligned in the Bay Area because of his streakiness, because of the injuries, is Brandon Lau. But when Lau is on, I'm telling you what, whether we like to admit it here in the Bay Area, he is a guy that puts the other teams on high alert because he has the ability to do damage. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but man, when he connects with the baseball, it goes a long way. And he starts it off with a single. Then here comes Yandy Diaz with a single, and then Aranda with a single. The key there is those guys didn't go up to the plate thinking, hey, we got to get these back in one swing. One at a time, chip away. That's the mindset that you need to have. That is a sign of even though there is young players on this team, that's a veteran type of mindset. And those are the little things that may get lost. Yeah, you look at the scoreboard and you're, wow, there's 3 singles. Wow, a bunch of different guys contributed to the cause. But it's not just about that. It's about how they didn't try to do too much. They didn't try to put the whole team on their back and try to get them all back with one swing. And then what comes up? Junior comes out. He pops out. It happens. Mangum with a single, right? Pitching change. Caballero grounds out. Meisner with a single. He steals. And then you get the big fly with Danny Jansen hitting the home run. So you chip away, you chip away, you chip away. You stay towards the middle of the field. And here comes Danny Jansen with the home run. That's winning baseball. And I said this all week because one thing I love about being back on the baseball field again with these kids is, they're at that age where they're like clay. They're moldable. And the one thing that's tried and true, and I've said this for as long as I've been on air, is that it always comes down to the little things. And you say it about football, you say it about hockey, you say it about basketball, you say it about soccer, but there's just something about baseball because there's so much more minutia in baseball than any other sport. There's so many games within the game. Getting bunts down, hitting the cutoff man, preventing the big inning, not getting thrown out on the base pass. Little things like that. First pitch strikes, walks to lead off innings, like the little things, not trying to do too much when you have the bases loaded and nobody out. There's so many different lessons that you can learn. And that's why I think when you talk about analogies to life, it doesn't get better than baseball. Work together. Sometimes, you're dealing with baseball. It's a game of failure. How do you fail 7 out of 10 times to still be considered successful? Like that's the way of the world sometimes. You come back Saturday with the Rays. All right, what are you going to do? You're the first team to score there in the third. Mets answer back, and then the Rays answer back again in the top of the fourth with 5 runs. So this was all about, hey, and you look at the second game on Saturday. The Mets were able to score 2 innings. They scored 2 in the third and 2 in the fifth. And you look at how the Rays responded both times. They responded with 5 in the top of the fourth, and they responded with 1 in the sixth. Those are the little things. Yeah, and you can look at the box score, and you look at how this guy compared to this, and 1 for 1. Don't worry about that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's a little bit of a boxing match. It's a punch and a counter punch. And I just love that even when the Mets punched this weekend in Queens, the Rays counterpunched. They had 12 hits on Saturday. The bats are coming. They really are. And Yandy Diaz, that average is up to 265. And I said a couple of weeks ago, and nobody else wanted to say it, Yandy Diaz needs to step up. And in the last 6 weeks or so, he really has. Let's look at his numbers here for the last couple of weeks. I mean, Yandy Diaz, I told you if the Rays were going to go anywhere, that he was a guy that needed to step up. In the last 15 games, write this down. The last 15 games, Yandy is 22 for 62, a 355 average of 406 on base. There you go. As Yandy Diaz goes, the Rays go. In his last 7 games, 13 for 30, 433 batting average with a 485 on base percentage. As Yandy Diaz goes, the Tampa Bay Rays go. Want to answer this question real quick. Benny, what's your walk-up song, Jay? My walk-up song was Drop It Like It's Hot by Snoop Dogg and Pharrell. Dun, 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 dun. If you're feeling like a pimp, drop it like it's hot. I thought that was good. I got everybody going. And, hit the beat, the bass drop. I like it. Regulators was probably in my second choice, Warren G. Regulate. And also, come on, the safety squeeze from Taylor Walls, right? The little things. Safety squeeze. We had that a couple of times this weekend with Hit Factory where a squeeze bunt did not get laid down and we didn't win. The little things. You love to see it. And especially guys like Walls. Hey, 2 for 3 on Saturday. A double, right? Everybody has to chip in. Everybody. And then Sunday, the exclamation point of all exclamation points. You figure, okay, and I know a lot of people were saying this on Saturday. You won the series. You won the series. And it would have been, and this is, as much as I talk about the Rays doing the little things this weekend, which really impressed me. The other thing that really stood out was that they put the nail in the coffin in this series. And that is not something that we've seen from the Rays the last couple of years. We haven't seen that, hey, we are going to just put an exclamation mark on this entire series. We are not just going to win the series. We're going to sweep this damn thing. We haven't seen them do that at home. We haven't really seen it doing it on the road. And it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, especially a team like the Mets that have been so good this year. The fact that Shane Baz was able to come out and throw the baseball like he was able to. 6 2/3, 3 hits, no runs. Of course, we want to see less walks, 6 Ks. But Montgomery comes in, gets a big out. Orza comes in, an inning and 2/3 with no runs, 3 walks. 7 walks is way too much. The fact that the Rays walked 7 and didn't give up any runs is kind of a little bit of a miracle, but no runs, the most important thing. And look at the contributions. 8 of the 9 guys in the starting lineup were able to get a hit, 3 runs in the second, a run in the third, 2 in the fifth, including the big home run from Junior Caminero, his 17th home run of the year with his dad in the stands, getting contributions up and down the lineup. Junior with 3 RBIs, Aranda with 2. I really think Jonathan Aranda is going to be an all-star this year, a 319 average. And for a long time, we look at the Rays batting averages and a couple of guys under 2. I mean, listen, the way that baseball is, batting averages you're not going to see a bunch of 275s and up, but it's a lot better than we've seen in years past. And even if a guy just gets 1 hit, he drives 1 in. We get, even in this game, the 9-0 win. Mangum with an RBI, Meisner with an RBI, Jansen with an RBI, right? Finding a way to get on base. Walls doesn't have an RBI, but he scores a run. So it's every single person is pulling the rope together. So while, yes, they're doing the little things, I love how they put their foot on the throat of the New York Metropolitans and swept that series in Queens. It was a beautiful thing to see. Happy Father's Day to you and yours. Bam, bam, baby. Unbelievable. Great stuff there. DT, JR back in the house. Appreciate you, buddy. Yes, I'm with you, Benny. The fastball was fired. Coach Tom Garvey, my man, bam, bam. It was great to see Coach Tom Saturday night at our good pal Alexa Russo, her graduation party. UT softball standout. What an incredible career that she had there as she helped lead the University of Tampa softball team to the final. Unfortunately, they fell to UT Tyler, but they lost to a damn good team. But Alexa, what a phenomenal career coming back from ACL injury, a car accident, and just an overall, just a great kid. Just to be able to see her grow up, starting playing baseball and then softball. It was just my pleasure to be able to see her do her thing and to be around all of her loved ones Saturday night to celebrate her. She deserves it. And every high school and college graduate, I know this is a very special time for a lot of friends and family out there. Live it up, man, because your life changes after this. It really does. It's out to the real world now. But Saturday night at the Russo house was a lot of fun being able to sit there, and we were watching some hockey, and Florida Panthers now up 3-2 in their series over the Edmonton Oilers, sitting there with Coach AB, Adrian Bush, the men's soccer coach for University of Tampa, and we were watching the Tampa Bay Sun win the USL Super League Final. Coach AB, good friends with our pal, Coach Denise Schulte-Brown. When this whole thing started, we didn't know really what to expect, right? We knew the USL Super League was starting here. We spoke to Christina Uncle. We chatted with Denise Schulte-Brown. We really didn't know what to expect. Remember, we had them on Jay and Zach over there at WDAE. We didn't even know the name of the team. We had no clue what was going on. And we were able to be there for game 1, and the place was packed. And the way that they were able to transform Blake High School over there, and the pitch looked phenomenal, and the interest here in the Bay Area was through the roof. And the game started playing. There was a lot of draws, and we were just wondering, all right, what's this first season going to entail? I think everybody had belief that they were going to do well, but I don't know if, a championship, or we didn't know what to expect. And then they come back from the winter break, and this team just They found another gear. They really did. And they just kept getting better and better. And those games that they were drawing in the beginning of the season were games that they ended up winning. And you get to a position where going into Saturday night, we had Coach Schulte Brown on the show last week. We also had Jordan Listro, the captain, on last week. This became a real possibility. Fort Lauderdale wins their game. You're like, wait a second, this game's going to be a home game? And it killed me to not be there. I was down in Bradenton coaching this weekend, and I didn't get back until after 9 o'clock. So I went over to the Russo house so I could watch the game. I didn't want to be driving more than I had to. So I got there, and me and Coach AB were watching the game, and it was just so great to see Sydny Nasello setting up the goal for Flu to win it. Obviously, they had to hold on because Fort Lauderdale had an opportunity to tie the game. But to hear that final whistle go and to see the celebration on the pitch and to see the celebration in the stands, I mean, Tampa Bay adds another one. The Tampa Bay Sun, in their first season, the first season of the USL Super League, an opportunity to have another professional sports league for women. The first ever women's pro sports team here in the Tampa Bay area. It's crazy to think of how many sports that we've had here for men over the years, for decades. This is the first one for women. There'll never be another first. That's why I've said that to Jordan Listro a bunch of times. There'll never be another first. You and Erica Timrak will be the first two people to ever get interviewed as members of the Tampa Bay Sun. There'll never be another first captain to win the USL Super League. Jordan Listro will be the answer to that trivia question. There'll never be another USL Super League Final MVP. Nobody did it first, but Sydny Nasello, and she joins us at 1:30 today. Just a sense of pride. And everybody that's involved, from Jess Dumig, the PA announcer, to our guy Greg Wolf, getting the people fired up, and see Titus O'Neill and so many other dignitaries in the Tampa Bay area, Mayor Jane Castor, just everybody out there supporting and people going crazy. I saw our buddy Eric Erlinson's sons out there getting everybody jacked up. I mean, it just doesn't compare, man. It's incredible. And another example of great things happening to great people. God, just so freaking cool, man. I was smiling ear to ear. So freaking awesome. So congratulations to the Tampa Bay Sun. You made us all proud. I'm just so grateful and happy that you guys have been able to do what you've been able to do. We've also seen, and I mentioned this before, that we're getting a lot of Tampa Bay Lightning players that are getting recognized and are going to be introduced as members of the team, Canada and all these different rosters. And Zemgus Gurdensons for Team Latvia, and Oliver Bjorkstrand for Denmark, and Sweden has Victor Hedman, and they're announcing the first 6 players for each. And breaking news here in the Tampa Bay area, one of the members of Team Canada, and there you have it. One of the members of Team Canada is our guy, Braden Point. So there's the first 6 members of Team Canada. Sidney Crosby, no surprise there. Nathan McKinnon, Cale McCarr, Connor McDavid, Braden Point, and Sam Reinhart. How great is that? That there's so many phenomenal players for Team Canada. And Braden Point is one of the first 6 to be mentioned. That is such a badge of honor, I think, when it comes to Braden, because there's a lot of deserving players that could be mentioned on that list. Sam Reinhart, who has played phenomenally for the Florida Panthers, and he's the guy that we talk a lot about answering. We just talked about this with the Rays. How you answer, right, when something bad happens. And what we saw over the weekend in that game was Sam Reinhart let Connor McDavid get away, and it's 3-2, and it's like, all right, here we go. I think it was 3-1 or 3-2, whatever score that goal made. And then who comes right back and scores the goal? Sam Reinhart. That must have been killing him to let McDavid get away. And what does he do? He comes back and gets a goal to answer right back. Now Florida has to hop on a plane, go up to Edmonton, and see if they can close out the game see if they can close out the series in Game 6 to go back-to-back. Can they do it? We'll see. I can't bet against them, but Edmonton is going to be rocking. They're going to try to force a Game 7 for the second year in a row. I said going back. No, they're going home. What am I talking about? They're going home. My bad. They're going home to try to close it out. My bad. I got it ass backwards there. They win Game 5 there, right? A huge win for them on the road. Marchand, unbelievable, making history there. So now they go home tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Holy smokes. The Florida Panthers, 8 o'clock, they can go belly to belly, back to back if they win this game tomorrow night. And it's up to Edmonton to be able to see if they can kind of pull the old switcheroo from last year, force a Game 6 to go back home for Game 7. Because remember, Game 7 last year was in Florida. Wow, man. Oh, boy. That is going to be wild tomorrow night. Tonight, NBA, Game 5. That series is tied at 2. The Thunder try to take this one after what a great comeback they had. It looked like we were destined for 3-1. It did. Indiana's leading, and then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander showed everybody why, the MVP of this league. 111-104 victory. What a fantastic performance from him. So now Game 5 tonight in OKC. Oklahoma City is a 9.5-point favorite. Wow, I would put money on Indiana in this one. 9.5 points. Wow, that's a huge spread. I don't know about that one, but it's going to be a dogfight. And you know that when you look at Rick Carlisle, he's one of the best coaches in all of sports. So I'm not betting against his team losing by 10. That's freaking wild to me. Another big win over the weekend for our Tampa Bay Rowdies. They're down 1-0. They come all the way back. And what I love to see for this team is the ability for them to continue fighting, continue pushing forward, because it's been a rough season. Obviously, we know Robbie Nielsen got let go. Coach Steve Coleman comes in there. He's trying to build the foundation back up with this club. There's such a rich history and rich tradition for our Tampa Bay Rowdies. And this year, I mean, it's just so odd to see them at the bottom of the table. Whether you follow them or not, regardless whether it's close or not, you know that the Rowdies are always a team that's competitive. They're one of the better teams in the league. But this year has been way different. The results are starting to come now, and the way that they were able to beat Miami over the weekend could be the sign of a turning point. You get a goal from Aaron Guillen. This is a guy that is your left back. He's not known for scoring goals, but he's your captain. He is the guy that has been fighting this entire time. And to be able to see him pick up that header late in the game, too, to tie the game at 1 was fantastic. And then Lewis Hilton, who has been banged up, another guy of the core 4. Remember the core 4, Forrest Lasso, Leo Fernandez, Aaron Guillen, and Lewis Hilton. Lewis has been out, and he is that engine right there in the middle of the pitch. When he's not out there, you can just tell. He's a guy that does all the dirty work, doesn't get nearly enough of the recognition and the love and the admiration. He comes in, he whips in across, and here comes Manu Arteaga heading the ball in. Rowdies win 2-1 in extra time. Like, oh, man. In stoppage time, excuse me. And a big 3 points for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So you think about all the success that we were able to have in Team Tampa Bay this weekend. To be able to see the Tampa Bay Rays go up there and beat the Mets 3 games in a row. You sweep the best team in the National League. That's a fantastic start. To see the Tampa Bay Rowdies down 1-0 at home there at Al Lang, storm all the way back and to win 2-1, even better. And then to finish it off, our Tampa Bay Sun, the first ever women's professional sports team here in the Tampa Bay area, in the inaugural season of the USL Super League, to win in the dramatic fashion. They're 0-0 going into extra time. They find a way to get a goal, to hold on, and to hoist that trophy. What a great weekend for Tampa Bay and Team Tampa Bay. It's just phenomenal. Yankees get swept too, so you're getting that much closer for, if you're the Rays, you're 3.5 games back of first place. Just a lot of great things. And the sky's the limit for the rest of the summer. Let's hope that there's more and more good vibes for our sports team. And again, the Rays are back in action tonight over there at Steinbrenner Field. All right, we have him on every Monday at 12:30. Let's bring him in here. Let's make sure we have the right description for him, because he is one of the greatest of all time. That is not hyperbole at all. It's the one and only Ian H. Beckles. What's going on, brother? How are you?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm good. Oh, whoa, look at your name. Who fixed your name?
I just changed it myself. Look at me being all technical and whatnot.
I'm very surprised. Not surprised. I'm happy. You're in Indiana.
I'm surprised.
You're in Indiana. Who's your great? Wagwan, buddy. That's how we do it.
Yeah, well, that sounds funny. I don't know. I don't even know if that's ever been said before. There's not a lot of greats from Indiana, not in football, anyways.
So you got to be on the list then.
I'm not gay. I'm 57. And I've never made anybody's list, so I'm good without being on lists. I'm good.
Hey, I want to ask you about. We've talked a lot of, and we'll talk some more about Tampa and a little bit. You've always come back down on the player side. We've been talking a little bit about the Cincinnati Bengals and Shamar Stewart and this young rookie, and how they're trying to slip things into this kid's contract because he has a young agent, and they're trying to let him know, like, hey, yeah, you got to sign this. But it's saying if he gets banged up or something, that it voids the rest of his rookie contract. And now this kid's like, oh, I'm not going to play. And everybody in the beginning was saying, oh, he's just being a spoiled kid. Nah, man, how slippery is that when you're a player and like, hey, if I sign this, you may be screwing the other players too. And also, you don't want to screw yourself, right? I mean, is that a thought process at all, that you don't want to set a bad precedent as a player? I know you got to worry about yourself first, but you also don't want to do something that's going to screw your brethren in the PA either.
I don't think athletes think about the future, what it's how it's gonna deal with it. I really don't. It's about taking care of yourself. But listen, I hate to get involved in anybody else's affairs. It's just like if you have a couple that you love, both of them, and they get a divorce, and you listen to one side of it, it's gonna sound one way. Okay, but what a lot of people don't realize is what we read and what we hear in the news is given to us by the team, and the news works for the team. So whatever comes out sounds great sometimes, but that ain't the case. The way it sounds like a one-sided contract that he'd be an idiot to sign. Right. But if you write an article, be like, oh, he's being a spoiled brat. I'll give you a great example. The great Eric Rett, my brother I played with back in the day, the running back. I read in the paper, Eric Rett passes up a 5-year, $10 million contract. So I'm like, what? And I go, E, come here. And I go, did you pass up a 5-year, $10 million contract? He goes, yeah. And I go, are you nuts? He goes, do you want to see it? In essence, it was a 3-year, $3 million contract. Okay, 5 years, 10 million sounds great, but if you get a million, then all of a sudden it accelerates in the back. You're never going to see that money.
You're not in the NFL when it's not guaranteed.
That's what I'm saying. So don't listen to the media. We are the media, and sometimes you got to investigate some stuff, but the media is going to say what's going to make the team look good, because the second the media makes the team look bad, they get ostracized, and they don't want that to happen.
They don't get the access that they want either. Right?
Exactly.
So what do you think is the biggest kind of misconception when it comes to media and the players? Is it contracts? Is it who the leaders are? Because we've talked about this in different ways over the years. Yeah. Do you think it's like the players? We talked about like leaders, and the media could say a player is a certain leader, but they're not inside the locker room. What's the biggest misconception between the media and the players when it comes to a professional sports team?
Oh boy, I think there's a lot. The issue as an athlete, the people that come into your locker room as the media, and listen, me and you, Jay, are friends, and you're my brother, and I don't care if you weren't even in the media, we'd still be good, okay? If you were media and I'd never met you before, you'd still be media. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Because I can't open up completely to you because you may write about it, okay? So the media is not the enemy, but they're certainly not your friend. And I think you got to kind of approach it that way as an athlete. Now, I've been on both sides, and everybody's like, well, why don't you go into the locker room? I don't want to. I don't want to go in the locker room and really befriend a lot of people, because then I'd have a harder time talking bad about him. Okay, because that's what the problem in the media is a lot. You talk to whoever it may be every day, and that's your boy, and then somebody says, well, he's playing poorly. Well, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you go to a Trump rally, and I'm not making this political. If you go to a Trump rally and ask them about things that Trump did, they'll excuse most of it because that's their guy. If you're in media and your guy's being abused, your first reaction is gonna be to save him. Okay, so the relationship between the media and the players is not really a relationship. Okay, that's business. And I think there's some media members, and listen, there's some exceptions to everything. Okay, like for yourself, Jay.
Yeah, because I think it's. I don't want to cut you off real quick.
Yeah,
I think it's. I feel like I'm in a unique situation. So I was coaching this weekend, and one of the dads, one of my guy Rod Kelly that I've known for 20 years.
Yeah,
and he was asking me about the relationship with the media, and you know me, I'm the opposite. I like to go in there because I want to know some of the stories that I can tell on my show that other people aren't going to be able to get. Now, I, for one, and I know I may not be in the majority with this, I don't necessarily hesitate to say things poorly about athletes because to me, Beck, it's not personal. Like I've called out, and people want to get on my case because I've called out Nikita Kucherov for going 15 straight playoff games without scoring a goal. And people call me a hater. People don't say that people say that, oh, I don't like him and I don't want him to do well. Now, I've also been the guy the last 2 years that says he's getting shafted for the MVP. I was also the guy that went up to Toronto on my own dime covering the All-Star game, talking to international media members, asking why they're not voting for Nikita Kucherov for MVP. I've covered this guy and defended him when he's done bad things. But if I call him out, people are going to hate. That's on them. But I don't feel – so are you saying that I'm – and I don't look at like these guys like they're my friends. Like I think there's you and I talk about the difference between being a leader and leadership. I look at a difference between being friends and being friendly. I feel like I can be friendly with these guys, but they know I have a job at the end of the day. And as long as I don't make it personal, even if they're going to get butthurt, that's on them. And they're not my friends anyway. So how is it different? Am I different than other people? Like, I know it's tough for you because I didn't cover you as an athlete, but am I in the minority because I feel that way? Because I feel like there's people that are completely on the other end of the spectrum. Because I've had this argument with a guy like Tom Jones, who was a columnist. And he goes, well, I don't want to be a fan. All right, well, you don't have to be a fan, but if you're a columnist and it's always negative, then I know you don't want to like root on the team because you don't want to seem like you're favoring them. But I think there's another end of the spectrum where you just come off as like, you don't want to see them win. Like, I don't think the other end of the spectrum is unbiased because I feel like being involved and being excited. And I think it's natural to cover these guys and want to see them do well because you do get to know them. Am I in the minority then?
Well, that's hard for me to answer because I know you. I know you. Yeah. Okay. So listen, I said we may not have been the same friends, but I think we would have ended up friends anyways. Okay. Because I had people in the locker room that I didn't care for. And I'm just straight up. And there's other people that like Ted Webb was in the locker room and I didn't even know who he was, but he was interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like there was other people that were in the locker room. I just didn't even know who they were, but we were still cool. Ira Kaufman, he's media, he's press. Yeah. But if I see Ira, I don't treat him as press. I treat him as some dude I've known since 1990, okay? Not everybody has the ability to do that, okay? I think you do, Jay. If you go out and you see Steven Stamkos and you see a bunch of guys out there, they're going to address you as Jay, okay? Yeah. They're not going to address you as that media member. But at the end of the day, they still may be reserved to tell you some things because you're still in the press, okay? I went on a fishing trip with my guy John Tortorella, okay, back in the day. John Tortorella is one of my favorite people in the world. Why? Because he don't give a fuck. That's what I like. I like dudes like that, okay? John Tortorella was telling, I'm on a boat with him, and he's telling me stuff, and I go, Coach, I'm in the press, right? And he goes, I don't give a shit. And like Like he was telling me that, when they cut this guy, I went up into the office and I cussed everybody, and I'm just like, woo. Like he was telling me stuff like he shouldn't have been telling me,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't depressed. So maybe you're also you're able to make people comfortable
Right.
to where they would forget. Okay. But I'm just telling you, the majority of athletes look at the press. I don't want to say the enemy, but you don't want to say the ally either, okay?
Right.
Because a lot of times, and Jay, a lot of guys are just waiting for you to slip up.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for you to slip up so
That
they can write
gotcha
something.
moment.
I told you he was this. And I think we sniffed that out. I don't ever see it with you. And like when you talk about being friends with people in the locker room, I remember back in the day when Dave Moore had a terrible game. I eviscerated him. That's just what I'm gonna do. Okay,
Yeah.
I have nothing else. If I don't eviscerate him, I think people look at me differently. Oh well, he knows Dave. He's taking easy. I'm never gonna do that. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's why I don't really want to get too involved. Listen, I met Tristan Wirfs. I think he's one of the nicest young men I've ever met. If he poops on himself, I'm gonna go, look how terrible that was. Like I've
Mhm.
never seen that.
Right.
But I would definitely point it out, and me knowing him and him knowing me will have nothing to do with my evaluation. But not every media member is able to do that, and I think a lot of media members, and this is the unfortunate part, Jay. I think the players who toss the media members salads, a lot of times don't get written bad about. And the
Right.
people, remember you said who's the leaders in the locker room? A lot of times the leaders in the locker room is the one to tell the media, go F yourself.
Right.
Those are the leaders in the locker room, and that's the people that the media attacks. And that's the part that I have a problem with.
Yeah, that's a great point that you bring up too, because I feel like the media members that you have to be wary about are the ones that always feel like they have breaking news, because people like that, they're always on the hunt for a scoop.
Yep.
Right. And this is something that we can tell our viewers out there is like those guys that are always trying to be like breaking news and breaking this and breaking that. Like none of the stuff that I ever break news is never something that's like, oh, gotcha, or this guy fucked up or anything.
Right.
It's always like this guy's leaving here, or this guy. It's never something where it's really that bad towards a player. It's kind of more like a change of scenery or something like that. But you're right too, because I look at certain players out there and certain guys that are friendly, and it's almost like you have to keep yourself guarded because they are looking. There are these gotcha guys that want to write these stories, and they are trying to use whatever happens to a player, whether it's good or bad, to advance themselves, even if it would harm that relationship with that player. So, and it's tough. It's tough because you have to do a job. You have to report on some of these things. But Ian, to be honest with you, I think some of the times, like I've seen a couple of things that have happened that people said, hey, would you mind not posting that right away? Or would you mind waiting on that? And it's like, okay, I mean, but I think that gives you respect from the organization. And I think there's also things that, they will let you in if they know that. And it's not like you're not doing your job, but I think there is privileged information at times. So there is kind of a line, right? There's let's say we are cool, right? And something happens with you and it's like, oh shit, is that really news? Like, does that change anything? No, but at least it puts me in a decent grace with the players. There's also that line, right, too, where, I'm not saying that they're kissing my ass or anything like that, but there's certain things if you are, let's say, out to dinner or out to have a couple of drinks with a player or a coach or something, and they're talking about, like, you're not supposed to you're not supposed to let everybody know that privileged information because everybody's not like John Tortorella.
You're right. And I think there is a line, Jay, and here's the line. FAIR. If you're fair. If you're fair with people, I think most athletes will understand, okay? Because I'll give you a great example, Gerald McCoy, okay? You've heard me speak against Gerald McCoy thousands of times. Have I ever got personal with him? And if I did, what did I say? Because I don't remember.
Just that he was
never
soft.
said he's not a good person. I never said he wasn't a good. I never. All I'm saying is when he gets on the football field, he's doing things that's not good. And I listen. If Gerald wants to sit down with me and watch one of his films and me explain to him what he was doing wrong, I can do that. I don't think he wants that because, once again, I'm never being unfair. If Gerald McCoy changed his game in the middle of the season and was doing the things right, you know what I would say? Man, Gerald McCoy got better. And he's doing the right thing now, but he didn't, okay? I was out with Dave Wanstead once. I wasn't with him. It was at like a barbecue event, and Dave Wanstead was there, and he recognized me, and we were talking. And I said, let me tell you something. I go, I get a lot of heat for saying that I think Gerald McCoy is overrated. He looks at me and goes, I agree. That was the defensive coordinator at the time, I believe. Okay,
Right.
so I try not to be unfair, Jay. I really do. When I look at somebody, I don't care if you're white, black, Asian. I don't care what school you went to. I'm going to watch the way you're playing, and I'm going to evaluate your playing, and that is it. I don't care if you're on the football field, you're wearing a Buccaneers jersey, you're one of us, and I'm going to evaluate you as a football player, and everything else is outside. I don't care.
Unless you go to Purdue, then you have a real problem with
Well,
that.
the fuck all that. That's real.
Unless you have Purdue. One of the guys, and shout out to our friends at Pewter Report, they put out something about a kind of an unsung hero from camp, and it's Logan Hall. I wanted to get your opinion on Logan Hall after the first couple of years, because I think you and I were kind of lockstep in, Will Golson's not here anymore. It's the first time we haven't seen Will in a while. It feels like Logan Hall is going to be that guy, the next coming to Will Golston, where he's going to maybe get 5 or 6 sacks, maybe a year. He's going to set the edge, and he's going to be reliable. Do you still see that same thing with Logan Hall, where he's just a big body that's going to help out in the run and just going to kind of be you need those consummate pros, don't you, in the locker room, where not every edge guy, not every down lineman is going to be, all right, maybe he could be a 10-sack guy. I feel like he's gotten better, and I feel like he kind of understands what his role is. I like Logan Hall. I think you need guys like that on your team.
Well, ironically, I just ran into Will Golston last weekend for the first time.
Wow.
I've never been around. Big old boy. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, and I wanted to. Logan Hall, I think his ceiling is more than Will Golston. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he could ever be Will Golston, because Will Golston is a unique old school throwback type of player. Okay, he's the epitome of a Big Ten defensive end, big bruising, bullying. Ain't gonna get a lot of sacks, push the pocket. I think Logan Hall has more wiggle than that. I think he has more of a ceiling than that. Will he succeed with more play? I don't know, and that's the thing. Nobody could ever know. I mean,
Right.
I've never seen him play 60 plays. That's the thing. As a defensive lineman, especially defensive linemen, they come in and out because they're pussies, unlike the offensive linemen who often stay in the whole game. But when you see a defensive lineman that doesn't come out the game, man, you know how valuable that son of a bitch is? I mean, like even Sapp would come out every once in a while, okay? You don't see many people. So when you elevate somebody's, reps, it's going to change the equation. It may change it for better, and it may change it for worse. But I haven't seen anything from Logan Hall to make me not like what he's done to this point.
Yeah, I look at this team, and there's so much excitement with this roster now. There's so much excitement with, obviously Chris Godwin's still not running yet, but Emeka Ibuka, a wide receiver, what he's been able to do, and, Shiloh Sanders and Desmond Watson, even in some of the undrafted guys. I mean, Jason Light, and just think about it, when you were on DAE and think about people and they were just hammering Jason Light, I mean, he's done a pretty remarkable turnaround in the last 6-7 years, where going from a guy where he was it was Roberto Aguayo, right? That was something that it was stuck on him like a badge, like a scarlet letter. And now people look at it as, you were helped bring Tom Brady here. You drafted Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield Jr. I mean, it's pretty remarkable to see Jason Light's turnaround, isn't it?
Well, talk about being fair. There was a time where I ran into Jason Light, and he was like, "You were kind of tough on me the other day. I was listening." And I go, "What part didn't you like? Or what part was I being unfair?" And he goes, "Oh, no, you were being fair." He goes, "But you were being tough." And I go, and then the next time I see him, I said, "Jason, you're doing a fabulous job." And he says to me, "I know you tell me otherwise." And that's facts, okay?
Right.
So, okay, remember my guy Duran, who conceded to who? Who did he concede to? Sugar Ray?
Yeah, no mas.
No mas. Remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what everybody remembers between Roberto Duran. You ever watch a documentary on him? That was a bad motherfucker, okay? I mean, before and after, by the way, okay? So it's like Bill Buckner. Roberto Aguayo is Duran and Buckner
For Jason,
to Jason Light, okay? If you take Aguayo out, what else are you going to say? What else are you going to say? I mean, it's way more plus than minus for me, okay? And it's easy. It's not easy. it's you can get lucky and put together a Super Bowl team, but to keep a team winning, like Tony Dungy did back in the year and Rich McKay, that's harder, brother. Because a lot of times you win that Super Bowl, there's a dive. We lost Tom Brady. We didn't dip that much, and we've kind of stayed here, which is pretty darn admirable. Okay, and then we're what 4 years after Brady, and we're still competing. I think if you talk about GMs in the NFL in the last 10 years, I'm not sure Jason Light's not on top of that list right now. I'm not sure.
I know it's still early, but who are the teams that you're looking at this season? Who are some of the NFL teams that really intrigue you going into the year?
Intrigue? Mm-hmm. Well, I listen to everybody else, but I try not to, okay?
Yeah.
I think it's funny. It seems like a broken record every year. You know, there's certain teams that everybody expects. This is the year for the Cardinals. This is the year for the Bears. It's been the year for the Bears. It's been the year for the Cardinals. Every year it seems like, and those teams just don't win. I don't think you're gonna win a playoff game with Kyler Murray. Okay, I don't think Caleb Williams is the answer. I mean, everybody's telling me why he is the answer, but I haven't seen it yet. Okay, so it's really hard to evaluate teams because what I really want to say to Chicago is don't put so much on that young man's plate.
Right.
Get good around him. Run the football. And that's the thing. That's the problem I had with Jameis Winston when Jameis Winston was thrust into the starting position right away. He threw about 40, and I don't know the number, but I bet if you go back in Jameis Winston's career, he threw the ball more than any quarterback in his first 4 years, or maybe 5.
That's why he set those. That's why he set those new records.
Okay, but you throw 30 picks, but you really have to start with your through 30 touchdowns because how many quarterbacks can throw 30 touchdowns? There's very few on the earth, okay? Now, how many can throw 30 touchdowns?
On the what?
Earth. And how many can throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions? Just one. And that's Jameis Winston.
I'll give it to you like this. This is the Jameis. I have it right here. He threw the ball over 535 times in his first 2 years. 535 and 567. His last year with Tampa Bay in 2019, he threw the ball 626 times.
Now, is that an equation for success for that
poor
young man?
So I am glad that you bring that up because you think about it, and people, at least on the favorable side of Jameis, not talking about the people that don't like Jameis, because regardless, but you think about it. All right, it's impressive what he was able to do, right, when he threw the ball that many times for his first 2 years. And he was able to put those statistics. But does that really lead you to success if you have a guy that young throwing the ball that many times?
Never.
I mean, you look at it. Jameis threw it 535 and 567 in 16 games.
Jesus.
Baker, the last 2 years, threw 566 and 570 in 17 games. So he threw it slightly more as a 7 and 8 year veteran, or an 8 and 9 year veteran,
and an extra game
with an extra game. Think about that. That's crazy.
Well, you know, and I know, Jay, when you put a young quarterback out there, the equation is, and Ben Roethlisberger did it. Russell Wilson did it. A bunch of other young quarterbacks did it. To make somebody throw the ball 35 times a game as a young kid is just not a good equation. It's dumb, okay? Because the defensive coordinators on the other side are really smart, and they're going to goad you, and they're going to get you eventually. Boy, I want what Tim Tebow did. Now, for people who still say that Tim Tebow can play, what would have – if people have actually said Tim Tebow still can play, what would Tim Tebow have looked like on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers throwing the ball 540 times?
He wouldn't have played 16 games.
Thank you. He wouldn't have played 4. He wouldn't have played 4. He'd have been done after 2 because he had 30 interceptions. It might have been the first 4 games.
Ben Roethlisberger, let me give you the 2 stats his first 2 years. He only played 14 and 12, but still a good chunk. 295 and 268.
That's 20. That's 20 a game, Jay.
His first 2 years. Russell Wilson played all 16 games the first 2 years. 393 and 407. Yep. So those guys, he threw the ball 150 times less both years than Jameis Winston did.
100%. And what's crazy is the Bucs didn't have a running game until what? Till Tom Brady got here.
You could argue that they didn't have a running game until Brady left into year 2 at Baker.
Well,
they were still last.
I don't think Brady wanted to run the ball personally.
No, but they were still last in the league.
Yeah,
I mean,
they were.
They were last in the league. Baker's first year. They didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty wild. What do you got going on at the Dignitary? Man, what was going on this weekend? I heard it was jam-packed there.
Yeah, we have these this young man, Ray is his name. He comes in here and he does like this artist thing, and these artists come in and they sing, and we get a nice crowd. The parking lot's full. We have a parking lot across Gandy as well. So we had a lot of nice young people in here. It rained on them a little bit, so everybody came inside. It was kind of packed up, but it was a nice little weekend. Saw a lot of good faces, and we had a good time at the Dignitary. It was cool.
Food truck this weekend?
Food truck's going to be Friday and Saturday and probably Sunday afternoon. So come taste my girl Sandy's food. I think it's the best shrimp and grits in town, and maybe the best Cajun food, for real.
It is. Beck, I leave for South Carolina tomorrow, so I'll be gone for the rest of the week. I'm going to Clemson Wednesday.
What you doing over there?
Coaching baseball, man. Right back at
well,
it.
good for you. Enjoy yourself, brother.
We'll be at Clemson University playing Wednesday night, so that's going to be a really how great would that be, right? To be able to be a kid, high school player, and you get to play at a place like Clemson, right? I mean, I can't even imagine doing that as a high school player. Imagine when you were growing up in Canada, is it high school? Is that what they call it? High school?
Yeah, it's called high school. It's not a different world. It's just right over the border, dog. It's
no, because you call it what, provincials?
What do you mean? What are you talking about? Provinces, you mean?
No, like there was like state championships.
Provincial.
That's what I'm saying. That's how I was trying to be respectful. That's all. I know it's not state championships.
Yeah, get it right.
Get it right. Pay the price. But imagine being a high school kid and playing football at Clemson. Like, I know it's different for baseball, but
sure.
Insane.
Listen, anything is amazing for little kids to go into stadiums that they're watching. That's got to be larger than life. Like I see young kids step on the Buccaneers field, and I see their eyes light up. That's definitely a different look.
He's the Indiana Hoosier great Dr. Ian H. Beckles. Make sure you check the Dignitary Cafe, 4817 Southwest Shore Boulevard. Ian_Beckles. Go check him out there. Beck, always a pleasure, man. Thanks, buddy.
Deuces.
All right, man. The one and only Ian Beckles. Doesn't get better than that. Man. Good stuff. I mean, you're not going to hear that from many people. You're really not. The relationship between the media, and the players. Because, unfortunately, that's the way it goes, man. There's that kind of gotcha type of mentality where, players and athletes and coaches, like, they know what to say, but they're not going to go above and beyond when it comes to the inner workings. And again, man, that's why I steer clear of the whole like breaking news and trying to this gotcha stuff. I don't like that. That's just, it's cringe. It's skeevy as hell to me when these people are like, I have this breaking news. I have this information, blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, man, you're being very disingenuous. And if you're that kind of guy that's always trying to break news, that means you're working a lot of back channels and you're trying to be some investigative reporter. I didn't get into sports media to be an investigative reporter. I didn't get into this business to try to alienate people and make athletes and teams look bad. That's not the way it goes. That's not what, I mean, listen, if that's what you want to do, fine. That's not how I'm going to do my business. Sorry. I am a former high school athlete, coach, still coaching now, coaching baseball. I always have that team first mentality. So I would never want to alienate players and coaches and things like that just to push my name forward. I got this breaking news. This guy said this about this guy. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't. And you hear it from Ian right there. I mean, people don't like that. And players inside the locker room, the ones that are the leaders, may not be the ones that are all buddy to the media. Those are the guys that are going to be with their teammates no matter what. And they have their back. Because if you're inside of a locker room, you're inside of a clubhouse, like your authority, who you are, just kind of the people that you like, the people that rely on you. Those are your teammates, your team. That has to be paramount. That has to be the priority, right? That's the person that you're going to battle with every Sunday or 3, 4, 5 days a week on the baseball field. You don't owe anything to the media. You just don't. You don't. The relationship is there. Obviously, we know in the CBAs that it's an important relationship to have between the players and the media. But man, the priority needs to be within the locker room, right? So if you don't get that information, hey, it is what it is. But there's a lot of great things going on here in the Tampa Bay area, and I'm proud to build those relationships with a lot of the players and a lot of the teams. And you see that. That's why here on the show, more than anybody else, you're getting players, you're getting coaches, you're getting just different members of the organizations that you're not going to get anywhere else, because it's not just Buccaneers talk every single day. We're not having lame ass Mount Rushmore conversations or shitting on teams and players. It's just not the way it goes. We're here to lift people up and to represent in the best way possible. And it was a great weekend for all things Tampa Bay. And we're going to continue the conversation going with our guy right here, USF quarterback and RHP, baby, Bryce Archie on the program. B, what's going on, man? How are you?
Nothing much, Jay. Just we got done working out with football earlier this morning, and we're about to go do some community service with the Boys and Girls Club here coming up around 1:30. So, excited just to be back around the guys, around the football team, and get this show on the road.
Let me ask you a question. What was the rest like after baseball season? Because the story that Joey Johnston wrote for GoUSFBulls.com, somebody asked me about it, and I go, just read this article, and it showed your schedule. And I go, as soon as the season was over, I was pissed. Of course, I wanted to see you guys advance, but I was like,
Right.
well, at least Bryce can go on vacation and sleep. What was it like after baseball season was over? What did you do to kind of decompress?
I'm gonna be honest with you. There wasn't too much of a break.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
I talked to Golish maybe 2 weeks ago, like a week after the conference tournament. He gave me a few days off for the weekend, go home. I stayed here, but got the chance to just take a breather real quick, and now I'm right back. The team needs me. The team needs me to be around. I'm a leader, so got to be around. I can't take too much of a break.
I hear that. Before we get into baseball, let's go back to the last football season. The ability for you to be able to go out there and to be able to win the bowl game, and just what was that season like for you guys? I mean, there were some ups, there were some downs, but man, just the fight, just to see where this team was able to grow in certain areas. And what was it like to be able to see the team kind of go through a rough patch to be able to come out on the other side and win a thrilling bowl game?
Uh-oh. I think
All
it
right,
cut
I got
out.
you back. No, you got me back. I was just asking about
Oh, we're back.
last year's season, yeah, and the bowl game.
Yeah. Like you said, it was a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Obviously, that's not the way I wanted to play, is someone to get hurt for the rest of the season, but it happens how it happens. God has a plan for everyone. So yeah, the season, I started out a little bit slow, trying to, get my feet wet in college football. That was my first time actually controlling a team and the team being my team. So it took a lot of learning, I would say that was really the whole season, just learning about college football. I would say it's a lot harder than people think it is. So just I learned a lot. And then as the season kept going, like towards the bowl game, I finally felt comfortable. Towards the end of the season, finally felt comfortable. That's when my decision making was a lot better, and then we ended the 5 overtime Hawaii Bowl, which was fun. So it was a lot of fun, but definitely a learning process for me.
What has it been like to have the support of Alex Golish? Because I mean, I was there when you got the start against Florida State, and just to be able to see him, not just the support on the football field, but the support at your baseball games, and just what he's meant to you as a student there at South Florida.
It means the world. A lot of people don't know that me and Golish go way back from like my junior year of high school when he was at UCF. I was actually committed to go play football with him there. So he left and went to Tennessee, and that was kind of it for me and him. And then it was crazy how it all came back in a full circle. Coastal coaches left when I was at Coastal, hit the portal, and the first guy that called me was Alex Golish. And he's always had my back, even the years I've been here, the years I wasn't here. He's always had my back, and it's great just to see your head coach put that much support in you, and see him at the baseball games. Obviously, his little kid Bear, you always got to hear from him. He'll why'd you throw this pitch? Why'd you throw this pitch? It's great having that, and great having them to be around. So I can't thank him enough.
What was that communication like, Bryce, between Coach Golish and Coach Hannes? Making sure that, because I remember talking to Coach Hannes early on in the season, and he was like, "Jay, I don't really know what to expect from Bryce, and going forward, we'll see, because we obviously have a big plan going on." But man, especially you had some real early success there, and I know there was a bunch of people in the stands watching you against Florida State and how well you were throwing the baseball, and you were throwing heavy fastballs too, man. But you were dotting them, throwing 95. I was like, this guy's got an arm. It was an incredible experience just to watch. But what was that whole process like? How great was the communication between just the three of you guys, Coach Hannes, Coach Golish, and yourself?
Oh man, it was night and day from the first year I played both. So Coach Hannes and Golish actually had like a sit down conversation. They sat through every day, every hour of what my day looked like and what I was going to be doing for the football team or the baseball team. So I would say that right there alone took the first half of the season out, and I was able to really focus on baseball. I was lifting here and there for football. They would kind of monitor it, kind of mix in baseball lifts with football, and kind of I'm still getting the strength of football, but kind of keeping my body right for to pitch on the mound, like you said, against Florida State, which is obviously one of the top teams in the nation. So, just them having that conversation there, that really carried through the season, and we stuck to the schedule. And Mitch's whole thing was, I don't want you ready right now in the beginning of the season. I want you for postseason. I want you towards the end of the season to be healthy and still going through it. So, just knowing he had my back and the whole way through the season, both of them really, and those conversations that they had with each other, that it took a lot off my shoulders, and I was able to just go out and play free.
It's how nice is that though, man? Because it seems like they care about you as a human being, right? Like, it's one thing to be like, all right,
Mhm.
you're a quarterback, but that kind of stuff, like, I feel like you have to really, when you communicate with somebody to that level, to that extent, to care, to put that much effort in, it goes deeper than just caring about somebody as a student athlete. It's caring about as a person. Did you get that kind of feeling from both these guys?
Oh yeah, that's I from my point of view, that's kind of how both those guys are, Mitch and Golish. Like they're really in it for the players. They really don't care about, like the wins and losses obviously come with it, because I mean they're by far the best dudes that you'll ever meet. Like if they were on this show, you'd be like, wow, like that doesn't seem like it's a head coach. That's just
Mm-hmm.
one of my guys. So that's how cool they are. And then obviously them even letting me play both, that just showed me how much they care about me to let me explore my options in both baseball and football. So I mean those guys are great. I can't thank them enough. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, and you joined them because I've had Golish and Coach Mitch Hannes on the show before, so you're part of the USF conglomerate here on the Jay Recher podcast. And what is it about Coach Hannes? Because I was good friends with Coach Billy Mole as well, and I
Hmm.
was excited that Coach Hannes came across, especially with the success that he had at Indiana State. And as me is back into coaching now again for the first time in 8 years after coaching before I got into radio.
Hmm.
There's certain things I look at when I'm looking at a baseball coach and what means the most to him. And I just love his attention to detail. I love the old school approach. I love how he gives you guys the opportunity to kind of like, hey man, this is the parameters. These are the rules. You guys follow them if you want to be good. But as a player, as an athlete on the team, what's the big difference with Coach Mitch Hannes? Because listen, last year you guys weren't even postseason, didn't even make it to the postseason. This year you
Right.
finished third in a damn good American Athletic Conference. I mean, what would you say is the thing that Coach Mitch Hannes brought to the table that really helped you guys really get the most out of this club this year?
Yeah, I would say the stuff you started off with. He's big attention to detail. He's big on these are my rules. Like one of my first team meetings, it was these are rules. This is how we're gonna do it. And if you step out of line, you're off the team. And that's kind of how it was. Like you gotta live up to that standard that he's setting every day. And in my opinion, he came to the field with a different mentality than anyone else could come to the field. We just swept, who was it, Tulane? He's like,
Mhm.
I don't know why y'all are so happy. Like we need to treat this like we're on a 6 game losing streak.
Mhm.
And that was kind of our whole motto the whole season.
Right.
Like we're not winning. We're on a 6-game losing streak. We gotta still go. Like we aren't anyone yet. So that took half of our season. Like the mindset we had through every game. I don't know what win streak we went on, but like we just had the same mindset of we're not anyone. We're on a losing streak. We gotta
Mhm.
we gotta prove ourselves every game because we haven't done it yet. So I mean, I would say that's what Mitch brings to the table. Like his mindset to baseball and the attention to detail to where you have to be at, and he's been in the game so long that he just knows. Like he'll be sitting in the dugout one time, look down, look up, and like it's a bunt, and it's a bunt. Like he's been around the game so long, like it's just he already knows what's about to happen. So just having a coach like that, it really prepares you.
Yeah, it's funny because one time I walked up to him to do my pregame interview, and he had like two different lineups in his hand. He's like, "I'm gonna do this one or this one," and he's like, "All right, we'll do this one." And then I go over, and it was after a loss, and I go, "Coach, what did you learn about yesterday's game?" And yesterday's game. He was like, "Absolutely nothing," and he was just joking around, but it was the funniest because he's got like a dry sense of humor too, which is really really
Yeah,
funny. Not everybody gets to see it, which is really cool.
right.
And I said this when I was doing some of the broadcasts on ESPN Plus and for radio, and I want you to tell me if I'm right or just maybe some of the other attributes. I feel like what you have to be able to do as far as being mentally tough and to be patient in the pocket helped you get out of some of your jams on the mound. So certain guys when they get on the mound, first and second nobody out, and you can tell it's first and second nobody out. But for
Right.
you could have bases loaded, nobody out, and I'm like, Bryce looks like he's just sitting at the beach somewhere. Like it doesn't bother you. What attributes? First off, am I right in saying that? And if I am or I'm not, what are some of the attributes that you used from football to help you be successful on the mound?
Yeah, I would say, obviously playing football helped me get out of those situations because
Okay, good.
during football you're in 4th and 1, third
Right.
and 3 against Miami, and you got to try to throw a ball with a helmet in your chest.
Right. Yeah, you
Um,
don't have to do that. If you throw a ball on the field, it's not somebody's not coming up to you and trying to ram you in the chest with a helmet. So yeah.
Yeah, I would like those situations. I just be on the mound and be I'm okay. I have full control of this situation. I have the
Right.
ball. There's no one else like trying to hit me or not
Mhm.
like do anything to me that's gonna
Right.
affect how I throw this ball. So I just have to, take every pitch like it's a one pitch and then go on from there. Whatever happens after I throw the ball, I can't control that. So that mindset, I've always had that mindset. I want control of the game. I want the ball in my hand. So just having that mindset helped me get through a lot of situations that I was in.
What's the relationship like with Byron Brown and the rest of the quarterbacks in that room? I mean, we're so excited for football season coming up.
hmm Oh, the relationships are great. I've been with Byron for 3 years now. That's my neighbor. We live next to each other, so we have a great relationship. And like you said, it's an exciting season coming up. And we added Locke and we got Marcellus. So we actually added a new guy yesterday or 2 days ago from Canada or Australia, one of those international.
International
He's a
guy,
good, yeah, he's a
yeah.
good dude. But the quarterback room looks amazing. We can't wait to go.
What is the discussion like with some of the guys knowing? Because I know on the outside looking in, I mean, you look at those first three games, right? And it's
Mhm.
tall task, right? Knowing that you're playing, Boise State, Miami, Florida, and we know that those could be your three hardest games on the schedule. I mean, everyone's going to be tough. There's never really a gimme when it comes to college football. But what do you guys talk about when it comes to? Is there an extra level of excitement for those games? Like, what is the mindset going into? Because as much as you want to say, hey, you got to treat these games like every other game, but these are, you got to come right. There's no tiptoeing into this one against what I mean, like a lesser opponent, maybe at a lesser collegiate level. I mean, where's the height, I guess, of urgency going into the season, knowing there's no rest for the weary? You got to play your best football in the beginning.
Yeah. Right now, what we're in is workouts, so you can definitely see the intensity has been to the highest level. We're doing stuff that in the past 2 years that I've been here we haven't been doing, and it's pushing our team. It's pushing everyone's mental to the next level. So when we step on the field against Boise, when we step against in Gainesville, when we go to Miami, like it's not the first time that we've been put in a situation where we got to fight through the hard. And that's kind of what we're doing right now is, we're having a fourth and inches mentality, and we got to push through whatever's in task ahead of us. Like you said, it's obviously we're gonna keep saying it's just another game, like it is. It's just another game. We can't treat it like it's the national championship. It's the first part of our season, and
Right.
these might be the most important games of our season. But if we get too stuck into that, we'll start playing like we haven't been there before, and we don't want to do that. We've
No
obviously
doubt.
been on the biggest stages, being at Alabama last year, sold out crowd. Like we've been in the biggest stages. We just gotta perform like we know how to, and not let it get to us.
Yeah, I took the drive to Tuscaloosa last year to be in the press box for that game. And I walked down to the field level in the fourth quarter and I go, holy smokes, man, this is incredible. Just a
Yeah.
fantastic atmosphere. And, while people say there's no silver linings and there's no, moral victories. And I was the person that asked that question to coach a couple of years ago about that. And he's like, no, we don't believe in that. And I go, yeah, I understand, coach. And I've asked him I asked him when he came on here with me too. And I go, coach, I understand you don't, but there's also stuff that you can learn, right? You can learn, like,
Yeah.
Once you go play at Tuscaloosa against Alabama, there's not really any other places that you go that are going to be like, wow, this is bigger than that, right? So I think
Mhm.
it does help. Do you ever get, because obviously you're playing basketball, you're playing baseball, you're playing football. Do you ever get down the road of like thinking where your mind meant where you're going to be in 5 years? What's your goal, through the rest of your collegiate career? Do you think about after college?
Yeah, that's kind of the situation I'm actually in right now. In July we got an important day coming up, the MLB draft. So we'll see what happens with that. And yeah, that's my head is bouncing through both places right now, trying to figure out what that looks like, and also what that looks like for me coming up in the fall. So you know, that's kind of where I am right now.
So you're just kind of keeping it right. You're just kind of keeping it open, right? I mean, it's got to be tough because some people are gonna be like, we need a concrete answer here. It's just like, bro, I got a lot of stuff going on, right? I mean, you're trying to
Yeah.
keep your options open, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Right now, I'm just attacking it like I'm on the football team,
Right.
and that's what it is. I have no idea what's gonna happen in July. So
Mhm.
I gotta keep the mindset like I'm on the football team. We gotta go. That's kind of what it is right now.
Good for you, man. Good for you. I feel like you're handling that the right way, and I know you're going to get a lot of information. You get a lot of people. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. And I
Yeah.
want to ask you before we go, because I know how important family is to you, and just their whole role in this entire process. Because Bryce, you're a unique guy, man. The ability to be able to play D1 quarterback and to be able to step on the rubber and to be able to throw 95. I have friends that are MLB scouts and they're just like, this kid got an arm. And I go, yeah, man, he's a heck of a quarterback too. Just talk about the role that your family has had in this, because there's a lot of college football players, there's a lot of college baseball
Mhm.
players, but there's not a lot of people that have been able to do both. You're a guy that was able to pitch against a top 10 team in the country and win a bowl game, within the same, within 6 months, which is pretty wild. What is the role? What can you say about your family and their support through this entire process?
Oh man, I can't thank them, and that's been the whole bread and butter to this whole situation. And Father's Day was yesterday, so I do want to give a shout out to my dad, as he would say, the dadager, kind of managing everything that's going on. And I mean, without them, none of this would even be possible. Anything. I can't thank them enough, and I love them.
Shout out to the Dadager Broad, man. He's all over. He's all over social media, man. He's scouring the internet, man. He's all about it. And some people want to avoid it. Some people get away with it. And when me coaching high school, I'm coaching high school kids, 16, 17s, and seeing the parents and the kids, it's going to get crazier. And I told them, I was like, I'm going to take care of some stuff and help you guys go down that path, because there's a lot of bad, but there's also a lot of good too. And I noticed that with your dad, like he focuses on a lot of good and promoting all the positive things. Not just about you and your brother, but just like everybody around, which is really good because people are so centrally focused on their kids, but they forget that it's a team environment, right? And I know that, I mean, before we go, how great is it to be a part of USF? You know, 2 great programs, great coaches, and just I feel like every time I'm around South Florida on the campus, like everybody's working together. What is it like to be an athlete in that environment?
I mean, it's taking off right now. You can tell just being around the facilities. They've actually taken our practice fields is looking at the new stadium. So they've taken all of that out. And it's just like, it's just dirt. So you can kind of see what it's going to look like, what the stadium's going to look like. So just being at USF right now, it's on the upcoming, it's on the rise, and it's going to places that people never really thought that it could go.
Can't wait to see what the next 5, 10, 15 years looks like. USF quarterback and right-handed pitcher Bryce Archie. Bryce, so thankful for you joining us on the show today. Continued success, man. We will talk more over the next couple of months, but keep grinding, stay healthy. Tell the dadager I said hello, man. We'll talk again soon. Thank you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You got it. Bryce Archie, all over the map, man. Gotta love it. This kid just, that's what it's all about, man. You see so many different people that are, you know, involved in sports. And, man, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it sounds like Bryce has got his eyes on the MLB draft. And I think that is a very, very smart thing for him. Because, I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you, and I think I've said it before on the program here. I got a bunch of guys, friends of mine that are MLB scouts, and they love Bryce Archie. They do. They love the kid. He throws hard, man. He throws that first game against Florida State showed you all you need to know. And I didn't ask him this. I probably should have. Forgot to. In the middle of the season, there was a little bit of dip in the velo, and then it came right back up at the end too. And it's just going to happen, right? The kid's doing so much. His workouts. Love to hear what he had to say about the coaches working together to build his schedule. You know, Coach Mitch Hannes, Coach Alex Golish. I mean, you don't do that about a player. You do that for a kid, right? I mean, you do that for a person because he's a good dude. Everybody works together. It takes a village, man. It really does. And you know, he's got his mindset that he's, you know, going to play quarterback. But listen, if Bryce gets drafted, and especially if he gets drafted kind of high, I'm interested to see what the dadager Broderick will do. Because the kid, he was throwing 95 against Florida State, and he hasn't even really done he's not even like a full-time baseball player. Imagine if he's a full-time baseball player, and especially with the track record of some of the pitchers that we've seen with USF, with Brad Lord, who didn't have the greatest career at USF, starting for the Washington Nationals, or Ryan Kirkring, what he was doing for USF in their fantastic run a couple of years ago, being a big part of the Philadelphia Phillies bullpen. We know, obviously, what Shane McClanahan's been able to do, and Jimmy Hergen, a lot of these other guys. I mean, why can't Bryce Archie be that next guy to really crush it for USF at the next level? I really hope somebody gives him a chance. And if they don't, you know, he'll be ready for football season as well. And, you know, maybe back to the baseball team next year. We'll see. Just saw some good news that Drew Recher, former USF standout in the outfield, moved up to high A Asheville with the Astros. He crushed it in Fayetteville. So really, really good stuff there. Shout out to our guy Hammer, Big Russ. Russ, I sent you an email. Check your email, my friend, because we're going to get part of our partnership going here in the next couple of weeks. It is going to get bigger and better here in the Tampa Bay area. Cannot wait for that. All right. 1:30, Sydny Nasello is going to join us here on the program. USL Super League MVP in the final for our Tampa Bay Sun. But before we do that, 2 big trades in sports, and I want to get to them real quick. First, MLB. Rafael Devers traded by the Boston Red Sox to the San Francisco Giants for left-hander Kyle Harrison, right-hander Jordan Hicks, outfielder prospect former Noel James Tibbs III, and rookie league right-hander Jose Bello. Now, the Giants are going to cover the rest of his contract, which is going to run through 2033, and I'll pay him more than $250 million. I actually don't hate this deal for either team, and I'm going to tell you why. First off, if you're the Red Sox, this was a relationship that was just deteriorating by the day. And I don't think Devers would have been opposed to playing first base for the Red Sox, I think the lack of communication from them really screwed them. Same thing with the Hassan Reddick deal with the Jets. We always look at that athlete and go, I can't believe them. What did they do? Blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. I don't think Devers would want to leave a place like that. Just be honest with the guy. And you're telling him one thing and then doing another. And then now, oh, you don't have to do this. You don't have to worry about this. And then, oh, yeah, we're going to go get Bregman. Like, this is what Boston has done. I mean, think about all the great players that they've traded away. Holy smokes, man. Trading away Chris Sale, trading away Mookie Betts, trading away Rafael Devers, trading away Babe Ruth. Like this is the history of the Boston Red Sox. But at the end of the day, I am not a proponent of paying these guys these big old contracts that aren't going to age well. Guys that aren't great athletes, guys that aren't great defenders. And if the relationship is already sour, you got to get out from it now. Get out from underneath it right now while he still has value, while somebody can still trade for him and think they're getting a good player. And I think they are. Now, could he play first base with the San Francisco Giants? I just saw something online. I don't know if it was true, but it seems like he's open to do that. You're going to with San Francisco because you're not playing third baseman over Matt Chapman when he's healthy. It's just not going to happen. I think Ravi's position is going to be first base DH, which is great for him going forward. Left-handed bat, I think it's a good move for all sides. Boston gets out from underneath that contract, right? Now you can go sign somebody else. I know I was saying Kyle Tucker, but there's a logjam in the outfield. I think they have to look somewhere else. But now they have probably more starting pitching. Can't get enough, especially in the AL East. It's good from Boston. Get out, get some prospects, open things up. That's not going to age gracefully down the stretch. I don't hate it for them. And I don't hate it for San Francisco. You went out and you put a lot of onus on a guy like Willy Adames, but you need more offense. You need as many weapons, offensively, defensively, in the starting rotation when you're playing in the NL West. Knowing that you're going up against the Dodgers every year, knowing you're going against the Padres every year, knowing you're against the Diamondbacks. Not enough people mention the Diamondbacks. They're a damn good team. Very well coached with Torey Lavulo and the whole crew over there. Corbin Carroll, one of the best players in baseball. They have some good starters as well, even though they lost Corbin Burns. I like this move. It's an arms race in these big divisions. Rafael Devers is going to take some of that heat off of Willy Adames. I think that's twofold. It works out a lot. Orlando going out and getting Desmond Bane for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Cole Anthony and 3 first-round picks and a first-round swap. Initially looking at this deal, I did not like it for Orlando. I didn't like it. That is a very, very large price to pay for a guy, and you're not getting a top 20 player in the league. Listen, you're going to get rid of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope because he is a guy that, which is kind of weird because just think about it when it comes to this situation. When there was 2 guys that they were looking to get, right, to fill that 2 spot, guys that can play good defense and hit the 3. I know Klay Thompson was a guy that they talked about a couple of years ago, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and they were able to get him. And KCP is a guy that maybe some people don't like around the league. Maybe they think he's overrated, but I know he's a guy that's very well respected throughout the ranks in the association. I mean, he's a champion, and I thought it was a good get at the time for Orlando. And I think a lot of people in and around the Magic really liked that move. It just didn't work out for them. Cole Anthony, I don't think ever really lived up to the expectation of, being the guard from North Carolina, being Greg's son. I just don't think it really worked out. The one thing, and I don't give a crap about the picks. I don't. I think in the NBA, the picks mean, especially if it's late in the first round, it doesn't mean anything to me. It really doesn't. Because you have just as much of a shot to have a good guy in the first 10 than you do in the second round. We don't know. The NBA, they're only playing 5 guys. Your benches, you're going 8 or 9 guys. So who cares? It's not like you have to throw numbers at this thing. It's not like the NFL. We have so many roster spots. Like, let's just try to get as many people and throw the numbers at the problem. Like, it's the NBA. It doesn't make much sense. I got a guest coming up here. Robert, I'm going to give you real quick because I have a guest coming up in 60 seconds. What do you got for me? You're feeling good after the other night. I know it.
Oh, yeah, and we're going to be at Game 5 tonight, so I'm super excited. But this Orlando trade, I just wanted to say, screams the Paul George to the Clippers, where they overpay for Paul George and sets the Thunder, I guess in this situation, the Grizzlies, up for very well. We
Yeah,
saw how that ended with for the Thunder. So
my man. You going to the game tonight, right? You said.
yes, yeah, we'll be in the third level, but there's no bad seat in that arena.
All right. Well, give me a call tomorrow, Robert. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Good stuff, Robert. I love it. I love my man is always tuning in from OKC. Robert, please give me a call tomorrow. I definitely want to talk about the game. The only difference between those and the other was that, I mean, they were able to get Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. They were able to get some high draft picks, and the Thunder did a really good job with that. I don't know how high those draft picks are going to be because I still think both the Grizzlies and the Magic, I don't think they're going to be that bad because the Grizz still have Morant. They still have Jaren Jackson. I still think there's some good players there. And, you know, KCP going there, I think it may help them. They may be looking at that deal the same way that the Magic were looking at that deal of a guy that can play next to Ja and take some of the onus off him defensively and to be able to make some open, maybe make some open shots. So it's exciting. I mean, I don't think it's a terrible deal. And for the Magic, you get a guy like Desmond Bane that is tough. He's tough as nails and a better shooter. You're looking at an 18, 19, 20 point a game type of guy. He's a really good free throw shooter in the upper 80s, 88%. He's, I think, 41. This year was 39%, but 41% from three in his career. I think you're getting a guy that's a little bit stronger and just kind of a different look, and you're going to get him for less money too. So Orlando's got to do something because I think they're good, but they got to be great. Go get more weapons. We just said this about the San Francisco Giants. Go get as many weapons as you can to combine with Paolo because Banchero is such a good player. And at times, he's one of the few guys in the league because of what he's been able to do shooting the basketball. He's as unguardable as, like, you talk about guys that are unguardable when their shot is falling. He's one of those guys. His footwork, he's such a big dude. Impact. I love watching his game. Continue to build if you're Orlando. You just don't get guys that are just Don't get guys that are just hard workers. Get guys that are uber talented. Get guys that can really change the game and be able to handle the ball 10, 15 minutes a game and not just have to rely on Paolo the entire time. If they do that, they'll be right there in the East. But we know how good the East is going to be when you have Indiana, you have the Knicks, the Celtics are going to be back. What happens with the Sixers? The Magic are probably right there, 5, 6, 7. How does Atlanta bounce back, right? What do the Heat do going forward? Where does Kevin Durant go? What about the Milwaukee Bucks? There's a lot of good teams in the East. What happens to Orlando? How do they separate themselves from the pack? All right. We are going to finish the show the only way we know how. And we started the show showing a lot of love to the Tampa Bay area, and we're going to finish the show with a champion, with somebody that I had on the show back in her USF days, and she was crushing it then. We were following her as she went overseas, and now she is a USL Super League Final MVP, a forward for our Tampa Bay Sun, Sydny Nasello. How does it feel? A couple days later, how does it feel now after winning the championship and being the MVP?
Yeah, things haven't settled down. We're still celebrating, still spending time together. It's gonna be a while before things calm down.
Sid, so proud of you. I mean, I remember when you were in studio after your USF career. I mean, just put it into words. I mean, it's one thing to be able to win a championship in the first professional women's sports team in Tampa in the first year of a league season, but to be able to do it here where you had so many incredible memories with Coach Denise, like, how do you put that into words as far as your personal experience?
Yeah, I mean, if you would have asked me 5, 6 years ago if I'd be sitting here today, a USL champion in Tampa. Tampa was not even on the map for having a women's professional team. You know, the NWSL was having expansion teams. And then when the USL was created, I think I was in Spain or Cyprus at the time. And then I saw on social media that Denise had gotten the head coaching job. So I was just so thrilled for her. And I reached out to her, wishing her, you know, all the best and congrats. No one else deserved it more than she did. And then for her, just kind of making like that joke of like, oh, like when you're ready to come home, let me know. And I was like, oh, like, okay. So I was like, you know, actually, I am ready to come home. So I just love the city. I've been a part of it for so long. It means so much to my family. My dad retired here. So many moments for the Nasellos that are like instilled in Tampa. So to be able to celebrate all of these moments and these victories, the good and the bad, with them has made all the difference in my joy for the game, if that makes sense. Like
No,
overseas,
definitely.
I still love football, but when I'm like in Turkey and I score a really big goal and I don't know anyone there, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna eat dinner, and I'm gonna call
Mm-hmm.
my dad tomorrow because with the time difference and
Right.
everything. So it's harder to celebrate those moments. But here everyone was there, got to hang out with them after, and they were just a part of the entire season through the ups and the downs.
Listen, when they announced that you were joining the team, I was like, I swear in my head, like, oh my God, they just got a dog. Because I remember watching you at USF and you were just so freaking relentless. And you always want to, it's not that I didn't think you were going to be a dog when you came here, but I swear the first time I saw you playing for the Sun and I just saw you running down the side, running down the wing, and you didn't even listen. You got the ball, you kicked it, they tipped it away, and they gave them the ball, and it should have been you guys. And you were just, I could see the smoke coming out of your ears. I'm like, the dog is here. I was so excited. I was like, because what is that competitiveness, Sid? Like that, where do you get that from? Because that's really the secret, in my opinion, the secret sauce to your success. Because other players, they may fall, their enthusiasm may go down, they may get a little tired, but your engine just keeps going and going and going. Where does that come from?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure if I would say like just being a Nasello in general. My whole for anyone that knows me knows that my family is strictly a football family. So my
Mm-hmm.
dad, national champion, played college soccer. All of
Mm-hmm.
my sisters played college soccer. So that's just like our thing. So growing up in that environment, if you know anything about having sisters, you know that
Yep.
you guys butt heads a lot. So when you have an athlete family with those sisters, you guys are
Mm-hmm.
competing it doesn't matter if you guys are putting clothes away or if you guys are on a pitch, you're competitive in some sense. So I think that has just been brought with me, especially being one of the younger child, having two older and a
Oh,
younger sister, so basically all over the spectrum, the role that I'm playing. So I think that they definitely taught me a lot. And you obviously don't like to lose. If you like to lose, I don't know what to tell you. I think that's crazy. So I don't know anyone that would enjoy losing anything, whether it's as big as
I'm
the
with you.
USL championship or something as small as just a board game with your family.
Exactly. I'm right there with you. My family is the exact same way that, yeah, even if we're putting laundry away or the
Right.
last piece of pizza or something, trivia, anything,
Right.
categories.
Right.
It gets crazy. Pencils get broken. We
Right.
always do men versus the women. So my sisters, people will say, oh yeah, you and your brothers, you and your brother and your dad, you talk crap. Like, yeah, we do, but not worse than my sisters and my mom.
Right.
They let us hear it. It does not
Right.
stop. I want to ask you about Jordan Listro, captain
Yeah.
wearing the armband. I chatted with her last week on the show, another USF grad. I mean, to be able to share that with another South Florida Bull and somebody like that who's been in the middle of the pitch from day one with this team. I mean, what was it like to be able to have her out there? Sometimes when you're a midfielder like that, you don't get the glory of scoring all the goals, but you're just out there the entire time. What has she been like, that stabilizing presence there for the Sun?
Jordan is probably the most level-headed, hardest working, calmest soccer player I've ever played with in any environment. I didn't have the luxury of playing with her in college, but getting to play with her now, like she is our captain, and she is that pure lead by example type. She's so calm, she's so respectful, and her passion for the game is something that I can look up to as one of the younger players. Like how she fuels her body, the way she takes care of herself, and the amount of emotion and effort that just goes into her daily life in order to be the most successful athlete it's so remarkable, and I'm just so proud of her. And she was unbelievable in that game. Like every single 50-50 entry ball, she won everything in the air. She's always the first one to tackle. So you want to talk about a dog, talk about Jordan Listro, because wow.
Yeah, it's funny too because she got the red card, in the middle of the season, and we talked about that. And I go, "That's kind of uncharacteristic for you." And she goes,
Right.
"Yeah, now all the other teams are like trying to get on me to kind of." And I just kind of look at him and I said, "That's got to be funny." Like people think like, "Oh, she's got a bad temper," and I go, "You're pretty quiet when you're here on the show." And she's like, "Yeah, now everybody thinks I have this terrible temper." And she says, "I do. I have been yelling a little bit more, but on my team." And I go, "Yeah, but you are that even keel. But every great team." A lot of the leaders are those people, even keel, don't get too high, don't get too low. take us through the goal. I mean, obviously 0-0. You're going into this extra time. We were watching because I would have been there. I was coaching out in Bradenton, so I was watching the game with Coach Adrian Bush. I know you know Coach AB. He and I were at a graduation party after 9:30 or so, and we're sitting there on our phones watching you. And he goes, AB said this to me. He goes, Sydny Nasello was going to score this goal. When it was 0-0 after the 90 minutes, he goes, Sydny Nasello was going to score this goal. And we thought, when you kicked the ball, when you crossed it in the middle, we thought that we didn't see who it went off first, but we thought you scored. We were like, oh my God. Well, it didn't turn out to be your goal, but you get the assist. But take us through that play, just kind of throwing it into a dangerous area and being the only goal that was scored in that contest.
Well, I will let it be known that at the end of 90, we came together as a team and we said, this game is not going to penalties. Okay, and then right then and there, we knew. We locked in. We said, this game is not going. We've had way too many chances. So now it's just, let's find one and let's finish this game. So that happened. We get the throw in. Everyone's thinking, Zayd's going to do her flip throw. And I think, obviously, that's what Fort Lauderdale was thinking at the time as well, to where they just forgot that I was there. I don't know how I was that open, but I didn't even know I was that open. I heard Zayd. She was like, Nasello, and then just immediately threw the ball. And I look and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm like completely isolated.
You got space, yeah.
Yeah, it's so much space. So beat my defender in front of me. And then obviously Flo, she's always in the right place at the right time. She's definitely a true goal scorer. She's always in the box, always an option. So I knew that she was the only one in the box. So that cross had to be only to her. Because if I would have missed her, there was nobody else behind her. So
what's the message after the goal? Knowing that there's more time on the clock, right? That's got to be one of the stuff, because every free kick is important, every corner is important, and you still want to pressure, right? Because you want to play prevent defense and just park the bus in front of the net, because then you just allow all that pressure onto you. What is that communication like? What was the focus after the goal was scored?
Yeah, so you could see us celebrating, and then we all came together just for about 30 seconds, and I think we had Tosh and Jordan kind of tell us we got the goal. Now it's all about defensive mindset and how we're going to defend for the next, I think there was still 15 minutes left before the end of that game. So I told them that I was going to be the forward, because in our formation, the 4-3-3, you can't have both of our wingers going at the same time anymore because of that weak side recovery. So I told them that I was going to be the one to drop back, and we're going to let Parker and Zayd be the ones to run up. That way we had a 5 in the back. So basically a park the bus mentality, but not super dramatically. Just
exactly.
Enough. And then forget about building, forget about the pretty football that we want to play. When the ball is near our defensive third, kick it out. And we're going to run.
All right. Be honest with me. You can be honest with me now that the game is over. When you took that corner, were you going for the Olympico there? Were you trying to score?
No. I should say yes, because then it doesn't look
because you almost scored. It was on the top of the, because
I know.
My favorite goal this year, and it sucked because I'm a United fan, so it was Mateus Cunha for the Wolves scored an Olympico against Andre Onana, and it was just like, oh yeah, he was trying to get that. I'm like, no, he was trying to score. And when they put you, because you don't always take the corners, and then you almost scored, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to ask her. So you weren't trying to score there, because that was amazing.
I was trying to, if you looked at the other corners, I was trying to drop it right on their goalkeeper.
Okay.
Because I feel like it was wet, the conditions, we were both teams were just bobbling the ball a little bit. So I was hoping that if I could drop it on her, she would just get a tip somewhere and have a deflection go in.
Have you ever scored a goal like that?
I've never attempted, but I'll keep that in mind for next year.
The next time you do, just point up. That's amazing, because the way that you were able to, get the ball into the box there, like your skill can definitely do that, right? It just because they were asking on the broadcast, whether you did that on purpose or not. And I was like, and I asked AB, like, what do you think? He goes, I don't know, but she could do it if she tried. So what was it like to be there, the final whistle, and looking around? You mentioned that, obviously being with friends and family now, but to see the support from Team Tampa Bay, it's incredible when this city gets behind one of its sports teams. And again, like I said, the first women's professional sports team in the Tampa Bay area. Final whistle sounds, looking around. What was that like?
It was actually funny, because when I got subbed out with about 3 minutes left, and I couldn't watch. I was distraught. I was like, I have so much confidence in the players coming in. They're they're gonna secure this. Everyone was playing well, but I was facing, and I had Jordy's husband in front of me, and he
Mhm.
was actually telling me what was going on. So I was like looking at him, biting my nails, and he's like, "You're good, you're good. We cleared it." Yeah, and then when obviously we heard that final whistle, it was just like so relieving. All the
Mhm.
hard work finally paid off. Look in the stands; it was a sellout. You know, over
Right.
5,000 people there, and I think this just goes to show that when you invest in women and invest in women's sports, the community will show up for them.
Right.
So that's a huge shout out to our owners. I think we have the best owners in the entire league. They have put so much time, energy, effort, money, just everything that we could in order for us to be successful. So none of this would have been possible without them. And then obviously to the fans to show up and show out, they were consistent all year long. So we had thousands of people in that stadium. It never felt empty. So yeah, we have the best fans in the league, and you could see that in our home record. We had the best record at home. I think only team in the league with 10 home wins, and then
Yeah.
obviously the final to be that 10th one. And that's proven because of the fans and because of the energy in that stadium.
Yeah, and shout out to my guy Greg Wolf, the in-game MC. He's the best
Yeah,
in the business. We have the
he
best
is.
guy. We have the best guy literally on the planet that does that. I mean, he used to
Yeah.
work for the NHL and go to the All-Star games, and we have him for the Lightning and the Sun and USF. We're so blessed to have the Wolfman doing that. What was the turnaround like? Because I mentioned to start the show, it was a lot of draws in the beginning of the season, and I know when you came on, it just when you had that break and we were able to come back. It just seemed like all those results ended up being right. The 1-1 draws ended up being 2-1 wins. The 0-0 draws ended up being 1-0 wins. What was the turnaround like? And Coach said there was a little bit of a shift when it came to kind of the formation, but I think as much of the formation, sometimes it's a mentality and a mindset. I want to ask you as one of the players, what was the shift down the stretch? Because nobody wanted to play you down the stretch because it was win after win after win. And when you went for being fourth or fifth, then it was like, hey, you're vying for first place in the league. What changed from the players' perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that, I mean, everyone saw at the beginning, we didn't even have a full, I think we were the only team that didn't have our full roster.
Right.
First couple games of the season, we had 16-year-olds playing, our academy kids. We love them.
Mhm.
They're awesome. But we were able to give them pro experience because,
Right.
you know, Tosh wasn't here, Jade wasn't here, all of our internationals, Flo wasn't here. So
Mhm.
it was a completely different Tampa Bay Sun team. And obviously that's hard when you're switching formations. There's an inconsistency in the players.
Right.
People are coming, people are going, and then obviously that midway point when everyone was here and settled, we can have the talk about Tampa Bay Sun principles, the discipline in the logo, how we want to play, and that consistency that it's going to be. And we can see that all the way through. And, you know, that just helps teams in general to know, like, day in and day out, that you don't have to constantly change tactics, change formation, change this. Like, no, we have our full personnel, full roster. Everyone's buying into the process, the principles, and we have that goal set. And how are we going to get there? It's going to be with this group doing A, B, C, and D.
What's next for you the rest of the summer and going into next season? Like what once you get this whole like craziness behind you a little bit, I mean, you guys are going to be celebrated for the next couple of weeks as you should, but what's kind of next for you this summer and kind of the rest of the year?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give my body a much needed break. That's going to be first. I'm going to take a couple weeks of nothing physically, like, you know, gym, soccer,
Right.
stuff like that. But I am leaving on a mission trip
Oh, good for you.
on Wednesday. So yeah, this has been planned for quite some time. I'm really excited for it. It's something me and my mom love to
Where
do
are you
together,
going?
and I feel like God had called us to do that. So
Where are you guys going?
we're going to Guyana. It's in
Nice.
South America,
Mhm.
border of Venezuela. So yeah, going with our church over there to work with kids, and really excited to play some soccer with them because I hear it's a really big sport in their
Mhm.
country. So that'll be really cool, and get to walk with God with them. And then after that, I'll be back on the 28th, no, the 25th. And then my family every single year goes to New Smyrna Beach, and they have a beach condo there. So this is the first of many years that I have not been able to go because I was in Spain for 2 years. I was in
Mhm.
Cyprus for a year, Turkey for a year. So this is like the fifth year, and I'm finally able to go enjoy time with them for the entire week and just kind of be on vacation mode. And then after that, it's time to lock back in.
You got that right for sure. Before I
Yeah.
let you go, I wanted to ask you this, and I know it's tough to maybe realize in the moment, but I said this to Jordan last week. I said, Jordan, there's only going to be one first, captain of our Tampa Bay Sun to hoist the trophy. She's the one that if she was the first interview, her and Erica Timrack coming into the radio station, I said, there's only going to be one first. I ask you this question because there's only going to be one first USL Super League Final MVP. Do you realize the historical significance now? Because one thing that I was able to glean through watching what you ladies have been able to do is how many little girls in the Tampa Bay area were going and celebrating and screaming and going crazy. And we know how much soccer grows. I mean, I play softball over to Ed Radis over there in Keystone, and just thousands of kids that are on the pitch every single night. Do you realize the impact that you've made here locally and beyond? Because, when we look back 100 years from now, when it comes to the, women's soccer in this city, like, your name's going to go down in the history books. Do you realize that significance yet? Or is that lost on you because it's still so fresh?
I think a little bit of both. I always think about the generation that we are working to inspire right now, because I was once that little girl that was watching, Abby Wambach, Alex Morgan, Carly Lloyd, watching them on the big stage and knowing that I wanted to be like them one day. So now having that in my hometown where there's little kids lined up after the game, they're just so excited to meet you, and they send you messages and they're like, oh, you inspire me so much. That is the best part of the job, hands down. No trophy, no championship will ever fulfill you the way touching lives like that does. And I think that's just such an awesome thing to be a part of. And I think that's the true historical moment. Yes, being in the first women's professional team, but also now you're in that space and that position where these little girls see you and know that they can in fact be you and take over your shoes one day with work ethic and all of that, and just being able to provide that for them. It's the coolest thing in the world.
She is one of the greatest women's soccer players to ever grace the city of Tampa. In my mind, she'll be a future USF Hall of Famer. And if they have a Tampa Bay Sun Hall of Famer, you're definitely going in there too, my friend. It's so great to catch up with you. I was so happy again. Me and AB were going crazy. We're high-fiving. I think we both heard our hands were high-fiving so much. But congratulations to you, Coach Denise, Jordan, and the entire crew over there for the Tampa Bay Sun. Have fun on your mission trip. Enjoy New Smyrna Beach, and we'll talk to you in a couple months. Thanks.
Awesome.
Congrats again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You got it. Sydny Nasello, again, one of the greatest women's soccer players to ever grace our city. An emotional and historical moment for our Tampa Bay Sun. There'll only be one first. There'll only be one first Tampa Bay Sun team. Only be one first USL Super League champion, USL Super League Final MVP, and it's right here in our backyards. Wow, what a performance. What a weekend for our friends here in the Tampa Bay area. Really, really good stuff there. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me on the program today. Let's see if anything big happened. Shout out to JJ Spawn winning the first major title of his career, winning the U.S. Open. Tough over there in Oakmont. But hey, listen, I had Scotty Scheffler. Unfortunately, he didn't win. Sam Burns, that sucked, man. It would have been really nice to be able to see him win. A U.S. men's national team, they get 5 in their Gold Cup opening win. That is a step in the right direction, winning against Trinidad and Tobago. We obviously have to be mindful of the competition there, but we got to figure something out. We got to figure out who our starting 11 is going to be for this United States team, and hopefully a win in the Gold Cup and be a step in the right direction for Maurice Pochettino and the boys. Joey Chestnut returning to the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. That should be fun on 4th of July. Shohei Ohtani pitching tonight for the Dodgers against the Pirates. And our Tampa Bay Rays return home tonight. Steinbrenner Field, 39-32. And they face the Baltimore Orioles. They've actually been playing much better as of late. They were, 19 games under 500. They're only 10 games under 500. So a pretty good battle tonight, 7:35 over at Steinbrenner Field. We got some kind of different lines in the water right now when it comes to our guests for tomorrow. Don't want to announce them quite yet because we don't really know, but I'll definitely pass along any of that information as soon as I get it. Follow me on all social media platforms. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. Please continue sending those super chats. Every little bit helps. $1, $2, $5, $10, $20. Every little bit really does help. I thank you all. And if you want to be part of the program, hit me up at jrecher, jrecher10 at yahoo.com if your business wants to advertise right here on the J Recher podcast. I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday. A big thank you to Ian Beckles, to Bryce Archie, and Sydny Nasello. We'll see you tomorrow right here at noon